Introduction to Java Queue Interface. Introduction to Java Collections Frameworks. Hello, everyone. We're going to explore the Java Collections Framework. And Collections Framework is a powerful component of Java that helps us manage groups of objects. And this framework contains various types of collections like lists, sets, and maps, and each serves a different purpose depending on our data handling needs. So our focus for this lecture will be on the queue interface, and queue interface is one of the crucial data structure to handle elements in a specific sequence before processing. Understanding the queue interface. So the queue interface in Java is primarily based on the first in, first out principle, though some implementations might differ. So this interface is crucial when we need to maintain an orderly sequence for processing elements. Let's take a look at some of the core methods. We have add, offer, remove, pull, element, peek. So add adds an element to the end of the queue and throws an exception if no space is available. And here is an example. And offer inserts elements, so it attempts to add an element, but it will return false if the queue is full. This makes it a preferable option for error handling. And remove and pull, these methods retrieve and remove the head of the queue, while remove throws an exception if the queue is empty. Pull returns null, which makes it safer. And we have element and peek. So both of them will retrieve, but do not remove the head of the queue. The difference between those two is that element throws an exception if the queue is empty, while peek simply returns null. So understanding these methods is fundamental for manipulating queues efficiently in Java. Queue implementations in Java. So in Java, the queue interface has several implementations, and each of them has its specific use cases. So the linked list is a general queue providing first in and first out operations, and can also be used as a stack. The priority queue, on the other hand, orders its elements based on natural ordering or a comparator, and is ideal for tasks where priorities needs to be managed. And it is important to consider performance aspects when choosing an implementation. And linked list, for instance, provides constant time for enqueuing and dequeuing operations, whereas priority queue may vary depending on the ordering, and we'll talk more about each implementation in subsequent lecture. Use cases of queue. So queues are really versatile, and you can find queues in applications. So they are fundamental in systems where order needs to be preserved, such as in order processing system or in task scheduling. So you can take a simple example where we are doing a task scheduling simulation. So we create a task queue, and then while the task queue is not empty, we'll print out by saying processing task and call task queue poll. So we can see that this example illustrates basic queue operations and highlight how intuitive working with queues can be. Advanced features and considerations. So as we look more into queue usage, especially in multi-threaded environments, thread safety becomes really important, and Java provides thread-safe queue implementations like the blocking queue, which include classes like array blocking queue and linked blocking queue. And these are designed to handle cases where multiple threads might be adding and removing elements concurrently. And blocking queues are particularly useful in producer-consumer scenarios where they help manage and mitigate resource conflicts effectively. And here is an example of using a blocking queue. We'll talk more about each implementation in their dedicated lecture for that specific implementation. Summary. So to summarize, we covered some of the basic principles of the queue interface and looked at different implementations and explored some practical use cases. And we briefly touched upon some of the advanced features for handling concurrency. So if you're curious about the queue interface, I encourage you to take a look at the queue interface documentation and explore different types of queues and their implementations, see how you can simplify your projects. Thank you, everyone.